Hello and welcome to Nightsky Sanctum, Season 2, Episode 2. Hello everyone. Hello from everyone. Uh, let's just go right ahead and just to make sure that everything's working, well, we'll go ahead, since we've had some audio issues in the recent past, let's have everybody introduce themselves. We're going to start from the opposite end and go to Anya first to introduce herself and her character.
Oh shoot.
Oh
Um,
shoot.
yeah, I am Anya. I'm playing Hollis. Let's see. I wrote something about her last week.
Oh
She
yeah, it
is
was good.
a yeah, she is a gob baba. She is a curious creature of the night. She dreams of death and dying and hopes to grow her relationship with her dead girlfriend.
Indeed.
That's Hollis.
Azalwin?
Well, I am Azalin, and I am playing Yarrow, who is a mad arcanist, and she's just a little mysterious right now, and has recently acquired a pretty fancy cape that she's pretty proud of now. So we'll see if that has anything to do with anything else.
Awesome. Megan?
Erotic, reckless, haunted, narrative shapeshifter. So being completely scatterbrained and terrified of everything that's going on, but also jumping in like tits first or dick first, who knows? And yeah, just shapeshifting magic to try to mess shit up. Yeah.
And Morningstar.
Hello, darlings. I am playing Elise this evening, and she is my Magian Psyche, who's very, very, very mean. But she has to be because she wants everything in life and doesn't want to have to actually do any work to get it.
This is true. Although I would have to say you've all done a significant amount of work to get all the things that you have accomplished over the last several years in game. And so let's just jump right back in to where we left off at the end of last session. Now we realized we skipped downtime because we're literally picking up the exact second, more or less, that that we left off. So, if I remember right, Hollis's Baba abilities include the ability to sense the goings on in her domain. And this entire island at this point, because the Coven has become quite powerful, is her domain. And she sensed a familiar presence, and then realized that it was two familiar presences. It was the mummy that you had dealt with in the past at the Museum of Modern Artifacts, who had disappeared on you, but he was carrying a parasite with him named Malachor, who you've also had some dealings with in the past.
Yeah.
A giant animatronic.
Yeah, Malachor has had many forms, yes.
I don't think he likes us very much.
So,
You do.
let me describe the mummy, who I don't think has been given an official name yet, although I'm sure your characters probably did a little research on him after you met him at the museum.
His name is actually Daddy.
It's official.
I was just waiting for the lead up for the daddy. I mean mummy.
Daddy Hotep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he is a olive-skinned, bald, tattooed gentleman of quite a muscular build. He has a Kabbalistic Tree of Life tattoo that starts below his loincloth and extends its way up his chest. Yeah. And the last time you all saw him Hollis, I think, ran him through with a magical sword.
I don't think it was me.
It wasn't you?
No.
Do you know who? Does anybody remember who that was? Somebody gave him
I
a.
do believe I jumped in the pit, so it might have been me.
Yeah, I think you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it may have been at least. Yeah, it felt like such an unusual move.
We were desperate.
Yeah.
It was one of you two, because I think I traumatized out at the end of that session.
Mm. Yeah, and I think it was the it might have even been jumping down into the pit that's the reason why you were able to get that sword through his entire body. But then he just levitated up and teleported out of the building, seemingly
Yes,
not
he
even
did.
under his own power. So yes, he is back. And yeah, he basically did a superhero landing on your island. And yeah, the rest of you are actually all of you are down in the bowels of your Coven bunker, and it is up to you as to what you want to do next.
Now we invite them in for tea.
Yeah, just like, I mean, I don't think he's leaving without having a chat.
Not very, very much. Maybe he's cold. We should bring him inside.
Seems like the appropriate thing to do would be well, be a pleasant host.
He needs
Hospitable.
he needs a shirt, or maybe
No,
he
he
doesn't.
No shirt, no
doesn't need
shoes,
a
no
shirt.
service, buddy.
I doubt he wants a shirt.
I
He
don't know,
probably would have
it's
been
cold.
buried with one if he wanted one.
True. So the sword wound happened to be right at a juncture of the Tree of Life tattoo, and it well well, it's too bad we don't remember exactly who it was that caused the wound, but yeah, it seemed more than physically significant. It seemed to be spiritually significant as well when it happened. Um, just one more thing to remind everyone of when we finished the last session was that you had all been discussing the fate of the wild witch named Clover, who you successfully wrangled and are currently keeping safely away from both the Order and the Scarlet Incarnation, who both of them want her for various reasons. So there had been some talk about how you were going to handle her, and that it might include some form of ritual binding to stop her from being able to use wild magic, because she does seem to be wantonly destructive. Okay.
But it
So,
certainly seems like the safest way to restrict her from being wantonly destructive without having to kill her.
Yeah,
absolutely.
even by our standards, she's a little wild.
Yeah,
Well, at least
exactly.
we have a reason for it, usually. Might not be a good reason, but
Uh, so, it one of you or all of you are just going to go up to the surface, to the bunker doors, and uh, what?
Well, we should definitely be as friendly as possible and get on Mommy Daddy's good side. So,
I do believe it was my actions that caused the wound, so
I think
I would be
so too.
happy to carry the tea out to them.
Okay. Um. Yep. You.
Or him, I suppose. One body with two entities.
Mhm. Yeah.
I doubt
True.
Malcor can drink tea.
We'll have to see. Uh. Should we do a fortune roll?
I
No. All right. So yeah, you crank open the doors to the bunker, and they make a loud whining noise as they come to a stop, and you see him turn toward the noise and start toward you. Um, you can see a almost like a spiritual second entity that is trying to force its way out of him, and he's having to like flex his muscle to keep the entity inside of him. So he's
That's
putting
usually why I flex as well.
to keep those dark spirits at bay. Yeah,
You have to
so
keep them inside.
he's it looks like he's putting on a show for you, but you can sense this entity that's trying to escape his body. Is anyone else heading up to check him out from the bunker doorway?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
if he has no
absolutely.
shirt on, I think we're all checking him out.
Okay.
Yeah, Yarrow's poking her head around and giggling a little.
Yeah.
Elise has no interest.
I want to know if he does like the bouncy titty dance, does like the evil spirit shift side to side?
Send it across, yeah, one way or the other. Yeah, so you're keeping close eye on him, and you can see that he's wearing more or less the same clothes that you remember seeing him in before, including the blood stains on his shorts from the wound, and his tattoos are lighting up as he's flexing and walking toward you.
You're welcome.
Really just giving us quite the show.
Mhm.
Might as well have some fireworks go off.
Down. Got a new follower, and I realized that our follower box was right on top of my face. We
Oh
got
dear.
another new follower. Thank you both
Yay!
so much.
Yay.
Nice to meet you, Morning Gate and Tara Blinn. Very cool names. All right. So he heads toward you, and he has a concerned look on his face. And he stops a few dozen feet back from you and says, this entity is very strong. I don't want to put you in danger, but I need your assistance.
Getting strong things out of people is what we do best.
Well, no, that's what the House of the Ram does best.
They just helped.
We did all the rolling.
Rolling in the hay. All right. Actually, yeah, he says that that's part of how he tracked you down was your exploits with House of the Ram. And that's how he knew that you have these powerful abilities. Thank you again for the follow. We are so close to 500 followers right now. So, Feniel the Shifted, thank you so much. All right. So he steps up and kind of makes sure that you are all on board, and then asks, where you want to go.
Binding circle time.
Yeah.
He takes a step toward your door if you're interested in letting him come into your covenstead.
Yarrow goes, I'll get the salt.
I want to bring him inside.
Yeah, maybe we go up to the graveyard.
Seems like the most sensible place for a ritual, anyhow.
Yarrow, when you turn to go back in to get the salt, you find yourself smacking into what feels like a force field that is keeping you out of your own coven.
Oh, no. Don't, hold on. I think, don't I have arcane supremacy? I do.
Yeah. So what you're seeing is like a shimmering rainbow pattern that seems to be covering the entire doorway of your bunker.
Well, my grimoire sense, I can sense a resonance.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have a specific resonance?
Yeah, I won't have you roll for that. You know this resonance well. This is the resonance of your coven patron, Arcana.
Oh. Well, I think Arcana's had enough of our
Locked us
stuff.
out.
Yeah.
The cheek.
Maybe she just doesn't like mummies?
Very possible.
Got mummy issues.
Full of
Oh.
ancient wisdom, though. You would think she'd like him.
Right.
As soon as he hears you talk about the graveyard, you point in that direction, and he starts heading over in the direction of the graveyard. You see him continuing to hunch over and flex. You can see his back muscles protruding, and he takes a couple more steps and literally collapses into the graveyard. And you can see this greenish, sickly entity trying to come out of his body. It continues to grow and shrink, and at its height, it looks like it's about 15 feet tall.
Dang.
But it never becomes fully solid. And yeah, he collapses just inside of your graveyard.
Well, in my assets, I have magical components. Would
Mm-hmm.
that could I consider like black salt in those?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I think this calls for the actual black salt, and pulls it out. And I start just doing a circle real quick.
The good
I
stuff.
think we're going to have to pull out the big guns here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe even my namesake, Yarrow.
Ooh. Isn't that a root?
Yes.
Nice. All right. Yeah, if I remember right, Hollis has this graveyard consecrated as well.
Yeah, it's consecrated. I also have Binding Circle. So I figured we would Binding Circle around this whole area to keep Malachor in and see if we can't just pull the other guy out.
Okay.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to remove him after we bind Malcor.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the subscription, Seth the Neurotic Fish. um, Azaelwyn, do you also have that ritual or that general power binding
I
circle?
don't have binding circle. I
Okay.
do have lesser creation though, so we
Ooh.
might be able to use that in some fashion. To maybe make a
Yeah,
jar to hold Malachar or something.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Ooh.
Something to put him in,
Okay.
Yeah.
like a genie in a bottle.
Yes. I'm gonna clay jar it up.
We're gonna need to have like a 5-minute section of like, okay, everybody subscribe. Thank you, Princess Kitty Bubblegum, for the resubscription. And hello to you, lovely person, as well.
Darling.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So, should we start with the binding circle? I don't think there's a role for that, right?
No, it's just one essence.
Okay. And what are you binding specifically?
Malachor.
Okay. Okay, by name.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Let's go ahead and, since this is kind of, it's pretty important, let's do a focus roll with increased effect.
Should I spend extra essence to make this better?
Let's to get an extra die, you'd need to spend willpower,
Yeah, I'm
but
just
you're gonna already get increased effect
okay.
because you're in your own hallowed ground near your own coven. You've basically got the whole home field advantage completely covered as far as
Is it still our own coven?
your magic goes. That's a good point. I'm gonna say you have so many things working in your favor right now that the fact that Arcana is pissed at you is actually inconsequential because you've got so much good going on with what you've done here. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead and make that roll, you can
Okay.
choose if you want to use willpower.
Let me see how many focuses I have. Okay. And I'm rolling in Tuesday. I think I am gonna spend willpower to get an extra die.
Okay.
And it's just a regular action die? Action roll?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's not terrible.
Got to fix our dice roller. It's still gonna keep doing that white flash. But awesome. Hollis got a partial success. So with increased effect, I'm gonna say Malachor is definitely trapped in your graveyard right now. But as far as the consequence goes, I'm gonna say that you feel magic extending from this greenish entity. This he's like not corporeal, and you can feel that his will does still extend far beyond his body. So while you have him like the most potent part of him trapped in the circle, parts of him have already escaped before the circle closes. So basically you saw like greenish wisps at the edge of the circle get cut off from his body, and those sort of escaped outwards.
Does anyone have a high-powered vacuum cleaner? Well, I suppose we wouldn't be able to use that anyway. It's technology and all that.
Somebody call Luigi.
Spirits of wind.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, you seem to have got the bulk of him, and his will is sort of trapped there. And he starts to kind of like genie out of this mummy's body. He's still very much attached to him physically, but the force is like ramming up against your barrier and slamming its big fists against it. But it seems to be fully trapped.
All right, so I guess we ask Mummy Guy to step out of the circle and see what happens.
He's unconscious. When he fell to the ground, he was out.
How close is he to the edge of the circle?
He is very, very close to the edge of the circle because he had only just fallen into the graveyard. So yeah.
Steph, turn into a giant chameleon and just get him out.
With your tongue.
Giant chameleon.
Tongue him out of the circle.
Surely an octopus would be more pertinent.
Have to tongue this sexy half-naked man. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do have greater telekinesis.
Oh,
But-
that could work too.
I lift him out.
Sure. Yeah, you wanna?
Yeah, I think that's a focus plus 1 essence. So, oh, wait.
Okay.
All right. And what is my focus? 2. Oh, yay. Yeah, let's see if I could lift him out and
Okay.
see how much the die spot likes me today.
Not
A partial success.
Yay!
too bad. Awesome.
Could be much worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to describe what that looks like?
Yeah, so Yarrow basically holds out her hands and just classic style tries to lift and just thinks about light as a feather, stiff as a board, and like just tries to barely pull his body right outside the circle at least. And since he is bigger than her, she probably just kind of like is a little exhausted and lets him out just right outside the circle.
Yeah, I think he does go literally, like you said, stiff as a board. Makes it easier to carry him out with telekinesis. But when you get him up to about the shoulder blades, you hear his bones crack as this thing is literally trying to tear itself out of him. And he stops, sort of the middle of his back and his head still inside the circle, and the rest of him outside. Not entirely sure how much damage he sustained, but considering the magnitude of this entity, you think it might have been significant.
He'll be fine. He's a mommy.
Yeah.
I mean, I stabbed him before, and he seems quite fine, so...
So if I get reshaped corpse, can I just, fix him? He's a corpse, right? He's a mummy.
It's unclear. You would need to do a little bit more research on him, or just ask him when he's conscious again.
Are you
But
dead?
considering he was able to become unconscious, you have a feeling he's probably more alive than dead.
Yeah.
Well, then I can heal him with healthy glow.
Mm-hmm.
Should I perhaps try to heal this mummy, or should I perhaps try to take over, since he doesn't seem to be functioning properly? Oh, I suppose he's unconscious, so I probably can't do that.
I think if you could get, I mean, there's probably a way.
Slap him enough times that he wakes up and then invade his mind, is what you're saying.
I was thinking maybe get an astral spirit that is allowed to go inside the circle, to possibly go in and try to take him over, because the astral spirits can take over unconscious bodies.
That is a good
Salts
idea.
that Yarrow brought up happen to be smelling salts.
Smelling salts, yeah.
Well,
Just
then
tickle him
perhaps
in the
we
feet.
should attempt to put an astral spirit in him, just so that there's something in there,
Mm-hmm.
offering some resistance.
What kind of astral spirit do you think you would want to make use of there?
How about the spirit of resolve?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Will itself. And if I'm doing that, I would like to, I think, add the extra 2 essence so that it's Coven tier rather than beneath, especially because I do believe if I don't do that, then it can't even do resistance rolls.
Okay. So you're going to empower the astral spirit to make it stronger?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be standard effect.
I believe that's a focus roll.
I think so as well, yeah.
Let us hope I can focus.
There is a lot of stuff going on out here at once.
There is. But thankfully the children aren't here screaming. Arcana's got them trapped inside. We don't have to deal with that.
Good point.
Clover's babysitting. It's
Oh, there is obviously far too much going on because it was a failure.
Okay. So I think what this looks like is you summon up this spirit, you speak your will into it. It's sort of a shadow of a person. You speak your will directly into it, and you send it into the circle, and it goes to try to get into his mouth to like take him over physically, and it is repelled. The entire green entity turns its
Breath is just
attention
that bad.
turns its attention entirely toward the astral spirit that's invaded the area, and it proceeds to smash down on it, and just obliterates it, sends it back to its home realm, and then turns and focuses its intention and will directly toward Elise, and begins pounding at the magic circle again from there. And additionally, it starts like twisting with its lower half and like trying to cause as much damage as it can to the mummy. We're gonna go to risky. Because it seems like it does have a chance to possibly cause enough physical damage to cause some either permanent or deadly damage at this point to the creature that it's partially inhabiting.
Can I go ahead and craft that jar so we can have like a ceiling jar? So something, at least if we can figure out how to get it into the jar, we have something to hold it. Which it just says it's a craft roll plus 1 essence, but I want to make it a Coven asset, so it would be 3 essence altogether,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I think that would make it so if anyone had an ability to put something inside, then it could then they could do that. They would all have the ability to make use of that asset. That makes sense.
Yeah, plus I figure that's a pretty big ask for just 1 essence. But I think it's a craft roll, which I have 2. And then did we still have Fey fruits? Did we get Fey fruits from
You were
trying to
owed Fey fruits from the Scarlet Incarnation on delivery of
Okay.
Clover, but since you haven't delivered her,
I feel like we have some
I have a few right now, 3.
yeah,
like Coven Fey fruits, but they're
the
in the
Coven
Coven.
ones would be inside. Yeah, but
I
if
think I'm
I
I
have one
think
on
I'm
my
gonna
person.
trust the
I just
dice
huck it
make.
over to Yarrow.
you have one that you can pass over,
Yeah, I have one. You want it?
Well, my crafting's 2, and I think I might be able to be okay without it. So we'll see. I think I'm gonna trust the dice this
okay.
time, so I don't have to take anybody's favorites. Oh, a partial success out of 4. So
Okay.
I've got a decent jar.
Mm-hmm.
Its
Good
lid
job.
just doesn't
Okay.
quite fit.
Yeah, so yeah, you can go ahead and describe how you form that. You're using some magical creation methods.
Yeah, so basically, I take my hoof and dig up some and get far down from the top layer of soil and actually get the clay up, and I actually start working a clay jar from just the ground that we're on, from that would be underneath like all the grave dirt. And yeah, it looks like just a regular jar. There's like little handprints all in it too,
Mm-hmm.
because Yarrow's just like rushing to craft it. And because she rushed to craft it, the lid doesn't fit quite well, so we don't know how well it's gonna keep Malachor in. But
Yeah, I think that sounds great for a partial success. That yeah, it the lid fits, it sits in the groove, but if you tipped that jar, that lid would just go off on its own. So as long as that lid stays firmly attached to the base, yeah, you feel very confident in its ability to hold an entity, even one this powerful.
we'll get some scotch tape.
Duct tape.
Super glue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Resin it closed.
Yeah.
Encase it in concrete.
Yeah, so at this point, you're probably wishing you had a animist around.
I'm just
To
holding up the jar. I have a jar.
da 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 da.
Yeah.
um, Elise probably feels a bit squashed herself, by how horribly that astral spirit was destroyed.
It's a good thing that I didn't attempt to do a physical takeover. Not that that would have worked very well anyway, since he was unconscious.
Yeah.
But it's just some astral spirit. Waste of essence, but not
Mm-hmm.
me.
Were we ever able to confirm whether or not Malachor is an underworld spirit of some kind?
That's a good question. I feel like so you when you guys encountered him before, he was always associated with a coven of illusionists.
Hmm.
So I don't think anything particularly really pointed to him being
Okay.
underworld, yeah. But yeah, I don't think you had anything more terribly specific than that.
That actually does beg a good question. We don't really know his nature
Origin,
at
yeah.
all. So, I would love to do an astral check on him.
Okay. Astral vibe check. What action do you want to roll for that?
I assume a focus is the most rational.
Okay.
Study could work as well, but I suppose study would only really work if I was doing it in a library.
Yeah, that probably would make more sense, but I could see either one. Yeah. I think
They're equal
focus
in die, so I will just say focus makes more sense for the here and now.
Yeah. Especially
Attempt to
since
focus and find out if this Malcor is an astral entity, which will at least rule something out if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 6.
Okay. Well, I think to answer your most direct question, he is tied to the astral, but only partially. He seems to be split between all of the worlds. So he has, yeah, it's almost like there are parts of him split into all the different worlds. There's some of him that's in the shadow world, some of him that's in the astral. You think that that probably means that he has multiple names. His physical name is Malachor. But to take complete power over him, you would need to know the other names that he's associated with. So I would assume that your jar probably already has, maybe on the lid, the name that you know him by. So yeah, if you were to find out the other names and ascribe those onto the jar, that would be the most powerful way of keeping him in check.
Yay, we'll just slowly add names. Everybody be like, well, people will get confused when they come in. Is this the jar we sign as like a, a house signing book? Or it's
Nice.
like, I don't think you want to put your name on there.
If we write every single name that we can possibly conceive on the jar,
Yeah,
we'll likely get most of them.
he doesn't look like a Bob. Get on there anyway. My hand's
Perhaps in
getting
the
tired.
shadow world, that is what it looks like.
Well, would other other entities from those realms know that his name as well in those realms?
um,
If we could ask maybe some spirits.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's always a chance, especially if you find the right ones. You know, absolutely. That could be definitely a very interesting thing to look into. He doesn't seem to be able to exit the circle. However, he does have a firm hold on the mummy.
How do we get him out of there?
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Get about that.
Okay, I have an idea. I could do because I've got the reckless trait.
Mm-hmm.
I could impersonate the mummy and just walk into the bubble, and be like, "Oh, I'm over here now." And he can come after me, but then, like, I don't know. I didn't think past that point. So I
Ow.
guess
Not
it's
certain
the
that
point
strategy is going to work, darling.
Yeah,
It's the point of being reckless.
He's already part of the mummy.
yeah, he's like forced down his throat. And his head's just kind of like wobbling side to side as this thing moves. So yeah, he's very solidly attached to him. But the telekinesis didn't seem to work only because there was such a force on the other end. You know, if you possibly distracted it, or you know, if it was focused on something else, you might be able to get his body out safely.
We
Also,
could do that.
Would my dispelling an enchantment with arcane supremacy is like his attachment to the mummy an enchantment? Or
I would say it's based on what your character knows. It's pretty unlikely that he's enchanting him. But if he is, then there's probably something physical inside of his body that it's attached to. In which case, that might be something you could check into.
yeah, I think I would be able to use my grimoire sense if there's an item of power to kind of locate that. What would I roll for that? Let's see. A study? Because I'm just studying him. Or survey.
It's really up to you what you want to use, and sort of how you envision it happening. Would be how you would determine what action you'd want to use. I think if you're just like visualizing sort of the magic energies, like a magical magnetic field, and trying to sense if there's something in there that it's attached to. To me, that sounds like focus, but I could see that going a number of different ways.
Oh no, I could totally do focus,
Okay.
especially because I would be really trying to pinpoint anywhere and focus in on something like that. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll put my fingers out and just kind of see if I can feel some threads
Okay.
of energy, and I'll focus on any strong ones, and I will literally like twitch my fingers to figure out which is it this one. But let's see, a focus roll.
So, well, I was gonna say we're gonna we're gonna do reduced effect because you can't get close to him if you're staying outside of the circle. But let's take your roll and we'll that.
It's a partial success with 4, so it's like
Okay. You can definitely sense multiple different types of magical energy on him. The tattoos are very, very powerful magic, and they seem to be kind of shielding the other effects that are on him. So you can sort of feel like pulses of different kinds of magical energy. There could absolutely be something in there that you can't quite pick out its individual resonance, because of the power of the tattoos. They seem to be almost like, I hesitate to say like an illusion, but like disrupting detection abilities.
they're like little
Possibly,
Doppler waves.
yeah. Possibly these are things that are on a lot of mummies that, just prevent the other magics that were used on them from being known.
Yeah, I probably my arcane supremacy wouldn't be able to pinpoint it enough with that much information, but it was at least worth a shot because we know some kind of information about it now.
Yeah, he has a lot of enchantments on him.
I would be afraid to dispel it and be too strong and just completely dispel the wrong enchantment. Permanently kill Mummy Daddy.
Yeah, I'm
Why
gonna.
don't we just try to yank him out again?
Yeah.
I was gonna.
Well, we
Just one quick thing. At this point, you guys have sort of cast enough spells and tried to do enough effects that you're realizing that there is something that's inhibiting your magic right now. You are not at full power. At first, it wasn't completely clear, but now, as things are going on, it's more clear that some source of your power is being obstructed here. But
it's
yeah, as
probably
far
because
as
our
some,
Arcana cut us off, so.
So as far as
I don't know that yet.
some physical actions, there's definitely enough mummy outside of the circle for the 4 of you to possibly get your hands, or however you wanted to do it, on him at once.
A proposition. Seth, you turn into an octopus. And I circle round, since you seems transfixed on me. And I attempt to hold his interest while you pull the mummy out.
Yeah, I can do that. Don't know why I have to be an octopus to do that.
You're
I'm not
just
More,
I'm not gonna turn down being an octopus.
you're just so damn good at it.
more arms means more pulling power.
More arms means more
Little
better.
suckers and everything, yeah.
Think of that grip.
Gorilla grip without the gorilla.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Would that be a finesse, I guess? I'm gonna grab him and pull him.
But I would
Versus
probably have to do the distraction first as a setup action.
that's true.
Probably. As far as finesse goes, I could see finesse if you were like trying to grab him at like all of the like chakra points on the lower half of his body and like making like magical connections to his body, or like all the parts of his anatomy that are like firmly attached, like not grabbing any toes or anything. But I think maybe a more strong type of action. Although it's really hard to say. There isn't really a particularly good action for that.
It's their tug of war action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brawl. It's brawl. Do brawl.
it's kind of I would say brawl would probably give you the best effect level.
I have a quick question though.
While
Because-
being the more potentially damaging to him.
That'll be fine.
Because I have multiple arms, and you said his chakra points have like some magical resonance off of them.
Mm-hmm.
Could I essentially be a conduit and put an arm on each of these as I'm trying to pull him, and essentially rewire the magic that's essentially there to try to see if I can charge him up, Energizer Bunny style, while I pull him?
Yeah, like yeah.
Tapping into his chakras as well as like trying to remove him.
Yeah, I think you could probably spend a little bit of extra essence as a special effect. 2 essence will give you increased effect.
Okay.
All right, so
I'll wait for the
Elise,
distraction first, though.
yeah, how do you want to get his or keep his attention as you move away from the body?
Man, I could do a dance, but I just figured I would pull out my pistol and shoot at him. It
Okay.
probably won't hurt him, but might be mildly annoying.
Might serve as a distraction. Okay. I'm gonna say that's gonna be reduced effect. Because he's incorporeal, but you're right. The sound might still get him.
It's mostly the sound that I
Yeah.
was looking for, but I thought the idea of shooting directly at him would be the most annoying.
Makes sense to me.
All right, I would like to use some willpower to get an extra die. I figure that would be a target, most likely.
Sounds good, yeah.
Even though, again, it really doesn't matter if it hits him or not.
Right. Just matters that he thinks that you're aiming at some spot that's
Just matters that he's intrigued by the loud noise, I suppose.
Here's the fireworks you were asking for.
There we go. They're not very good fireworks.
Oh no. Okay.
2.
I think the first shot does probably startle him a little bit. And he gives you a little bit of a look. But yeah, I think the fact that he's incorporeal is enough to make him realize pretty quickly that he's not in any real danger there. Possibly thought maybe your bullets were enchanted for a split second. Because that's always a possibility. But yeah, so not currently distracted. I would even say he grabs the body and pulls it back another foot into the circle. So basically, as he's following you as you're walking around the circle, he pulls the body in a little bit more. And so Steph is going to have a little bit less body to grab a hold of from the other side.
Before Seth goes ahead, can I take a slightly more risky action here?
Awesome. Yeah.
I'll step into the circle.
Ah. What would you like to use for that, as far as an action?
Feet.
What?
Feet.
Feet?
Yes, I'm not really sure what the action would be.
I was thinking, like command. Like your
That's
command.
actually a good idea. Yes, like a
commanding his
commanding step
attention.
in. I just assumed he would pay attention to the only thing that he can harm anyhow. But yes, a command would certainly make sense. Stand in with my head held high, my brow arched, just looking him straight in whatever passes for an eye and challenging him.
Exactly. Yeah, this also shows us, I think some Bloody Roast or Gypsy Dark Soul just said, balls of steel. This like tells us how able you are to meet its glance before you potentially turn tail and get out of the circle. So yeah, tells us how long you stay in to give Seth a chance to. So yeah, I'm gonna say full effect, standard effect, but like you said, you're kind of twisting it up a notch. So standard effect, desperate.
Definitely not a safe action here. Let's hope that the die decide to be on my side this time.
Yeah,
It's time for the end to be good.
It's not. It's a
it's
3.
not good at all. Okay.
I need to stop rolling until the last half of every session because that's the only time I get good dice.
Yeah. Malachor leaps at you and drags the body back into the circle fully. And as he does, Malachor jumps toward Elise with a quickness that nobody expected and starts to force his way down Elise's throat.
No, we just got them cleaned out.
This is going to be, if you want to resist, you are being possessed.
Elise is definitely going to try to resist that.
Okay. That's going to be a resolve resist.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how badly this goes because I have a +1 to resistance rolls and a resolve of 4.
Awesome.
So we shall see if with 5 dice I can get something above a 3.
Yeah.
That's a 5.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but
Nice.
very, very, very close to not being a 5.
Oh my god.
Threes.
Wow. Okay. So
I must admit, I was almost certain that would be a crit.
All right. So you resist and you spend 1 willpower. You form an astral entity. You basically expand the size of your soul outward to
Don't have a soul
repel
anyways.
this force, and they clash together right at the opening of your mouth. And the entity sort of rushes past you because it came at you with such force, thinking it was just going to go straight into you, that it ends up sort of like hitting you like a wave and knocking you backwards. Your head goes out of the circle, but the rest of your body is still inside. And that is the thing that helps you at the last moment to keep you from getting possessed.
Well,
What's to
that could have gone worse, but it certainly could have gone better.
I have a
Yarrow
question.
hands the jar over like a barf bucket.
Yeah, Anya.
Since this is my binding circle, can I just make it smaller and smaller and smaller until only Malachor can fit in it?
Yeah, I don't see why not. It would probably take a focus roll to
Yeah.
pull it off, but yeah, I can't really give a good reason why that wouldn't potentially work.
It's Fortnite.
Oh,
I
is that
have no idea.
is that a thing in Fortnite?
We can tag the stream with Fortnite now. It'll go crazy.
Okay, so I'm adding Fortnite to our tags.
Oh, please don't. I don't want the 10-year-old.
It's not worth it.
I have to say thank you again to all the new followers. We're at 495. There's a
Oh,
very
we're
good
so
chance
close.
we're gonna hit 500 tonight. So thank you all
You
so
could
much.
become the 500th follower.
If you're
You
watching
won't get
right now,
anything, but
if you're watching right now and you haven't followed yet, you are so close. All right. Okay. So what exactly is it that Hollis is doing? What does this look like?
Okay, so what I am going to attempt to do is just like think of it kind of as drawing drawstrings of a bag closed and pull the circle in tighter,
Okay. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
guess.
Yeah.
The best analogy I could think of.
Awesome.
I'm gonna spend some willpower and I'm
Okay.
gonna do a focus roll to see if I can close this circle down a little bit more around Malachor so we can get Mummy out and get him in a small enough package to put in the jar.
So are you trying to get this small enough that both Elise and the mummy are outside of the circle?
Yes.
Is that the okay?
That's the overall idea.
Okay.
Get them out of the circle and keep Malachor in the circle.
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna say you're outside of the circle, so worst case scenario, this is. You know what? I'm gonna say it's still desperate because if this were to fail,
It could just break the
it
circle.
could just break the circle.
So don't fail.
But we're gonna say desperate standard effect.
Okay.
You
Not
have a partial success.
terrible.
Okay. Okay. Elise and the mummy have been released from the circle and released from the grip of Malachor. However,
Okay.
about half of the entity that was Malachor has successfully escaped from the circle.
Okay.
So, and you see it rise up into the air and starts to spread across above you, blotting out the moon. And the wisps of green energy that you saw go to Earth are all flying up and merging with the part of Malachor that is outside of the magic circle.
Okay.
So can
Lisa's still laying on her back on the ground, is just looking up at the green and I need a cigarette.
Is the mummy guy still unconscious?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
So can I look up at Malachor that's outside and just shout stun and try to use my words of power
Sure.
and stun
Yeah.
it? Like literally, I think let me roll first, and I have an idea of how
Okay.
it's gonna turn out. But let's see. I think for stun, it's one essence and then a focus roll. Okay.
I would recommend spending more essence because he's such a spread out entity. If you want to stun him fully, I would say probably 3 essence.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bump that essence up. All right, there we go. And let's really, and you know what? I'm going to spend 2 willpower for an extra die as well. And let's
Okay.
really just hope this works.
Sounds good.
I don't like the idea of him getting away.
Mm-hmm.
So let's.
Yeah.
Oh no, I failed.
Oh fuck! I mean,
Well,
1, 2,
it's a
3.
1, 2, 3. Like,
That's a pretty cool roll.
it's very sequential.
Yeah.
Does cool count for anything?
Yes.
There is a rule of
The
cool.
rule of cool applies.
Get like 1 willpower back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your shout, you shout upward and you see Malachor split and sort of make a circular hole in the middle of itself, and the energy just sort of phases up through the hole into the sky. And while your mouth is still open, Malachor dives down
No.
and goes straight for your mouth. You're resisting being possessed,
It's not that bad.
if you would like to resist.
Can I just spring out of the way?
Paulus is just on the sidelines, like, you're possessing everyone but me.
I would say, yeah, you could do a prowess instead of a resolve, resist if you'd like.
Yeah, let's see. I was like, I'm just watching so intently. I just want to see if I could spring out of the way with my little goat leg.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you I'll
Die.
give you +1 die because of your goat legs.
All right. Oh, okay. So prowess, I have a 3, so that'll be 4. I might
Nice.
actually have a good chance. Yay!
All right.
Success
Hey,
with this.
more
Is it
sequential rolling. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I think my dice are OCD as well.
So it hits the ground and splits and starts to rise back up and reform itself after it misses you.
I barrel rolled.
Yeah. Okay. Megan, do you have an idea for an action? Half of this thing, or maybe more than half at this point, are outside of the circle.
Whatever you do, darling, don't open your mouth.
I mean, I
Clench
had
your
good luck
butt.
with Tina last time.
Clench your mouth hole and your butthole.
Stick my giant fishy fingers up my nose and in my ears.
And whatever you do, don't do this.
You know what? I have Otherworld Omens,
Mm.
which is if you're being watched or stalked, whether in physical or other. Sorry, I'm trying to read it. My screen keeps moving all over the place. Physical world or otherwise, to get signals of omens, warnings about the nature or threat of helpful spirits.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's some helpful spirits around.
I would basically say that kind of gives you like a free gather information. So yeah, you can sense that the thing you're seeing in the physical world is just one portion of this whole thing. And yeah, you can sense it in the other worlds, moving, interacting with you, suppressing your magic energies. Yeah, you're sensing that the part of this that you're dealing with directly is only a third, a quarter or so of what's really going on here.
We need more names.
Wish my hagstone thing was done at this point.
You could do a flashback action if you want to try to finish it off.
I don't think I can. I'm only 2 out of 8 on the build clock. That's still a decent chunk left.
You do have some Fey fruits, so you could get
That's true.
extra downtime actions from those.
Yeah, you know what?
Technically, we didn't take any downtime actions last time either. Well, I guess we
Mm-hmm.
don't. Technically, didn't have time.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys double downtime next time. After this
Yeah, you
update.
know what? I'll try a flashback and cash in my Fey fruit to see if I can get some extra downtime to finish that off.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily sure how I would roll for that.
This is you're doing a craft artifact.
Mm-hmm.
You already had the design finished, so now you're just crafting it.
Yeah, it's just the
Okay.
build clock that's left.
Usually those are focus rolls, but craft rolls are also acceptable.
Okay. Higher in focus, so I think I might want to roll in focus if that's all right.
Okay.
Do I have to do anything different with the characters, like when I type it in, or is it just fine to do?
But they're fortune rolls, so just with an F. Then you can basically do that as many times as you have downtime actions or Fey Fruit
Okay.
until you are able to get enough to finish it.
Okay. I have 2 standard downtime, and then I have 1 Fey Fruit.
Okay. Right.
5.
So that's a partial. That gives you 2 ticks. So
You're halfway there, darling.
Exactly.
Don't beans it up. Let's try that again.
Good night, Juniper.
A 6.
6.
Awesome. Only 1 tick left.
Okay. And for the Fey Fruit, it would just be another one of the focus rolls, or I have
Yep.
to do something different?
Just another regular focus roll. Awesome.
I don't even think you needed to roll there because I think you get 1 no matter what, don't you?
Unless you roll nothing but ones.
Oh,
So you could
fail, I see.
possibly fail. But yeah. Awesome. Okay. Your hagstones are complete. So basically, we watch this so we do a flashback and we see this montage of you. What are you doing with the hagstones? How does this look?
I want to be sitting in the sand by myself, and I have them spread around me. I have 8 individual hagstones, so assuming north-south compass style around me, and I'm focusing my energy and what I intend to do with them into these stones, because I've been kind of doing that for the last few times, just to kind of make them resonate with each other. I think that's the plan.
Awesome. And when you finish, you're able to look through them, and what do they let you do? They let you see into the...
They allow me to see into the shadow world.
Awesome. Okay, so when we flash back forward, I assume you're going through your pockets and pulling out the hagstones?
Yeah.
Do you want to pass them around to everyone, or do you just have enough for yourself?
I mean, I have 8, so
Mm-hmm.
we can each put a pair on like stupid little glasses.
Hag shades.
Exactly. We all got hag shades.
All right,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, you
So
slip your
shadow.
makeshift goggles on, and you're able to see into the shadow world. And this thing is far more hideous in the shadow world than it is in the real world. You can see it's just this bubbling, roiling green slime that's sort of floating and undulating in the shadow world. Anytime it comes near another shadow spirit, it just sucks the energy right out of it. So you see all the flowers and trees and everything around just withering in its presence.
That's the pinnacle of beauty in the shadow world. We don't really know their standards.
You do know that it's a good thing that this didn't get inside of Elise or Yarrow. All right. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back, figure out how they deal with this escaped half of Malachor. Right, we'll be
I
right
think we have
back.
to deal with more than just the escaped half.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nightsky Sanctum. Waiting for everything to load back in. Wow, 29 of you still here in chat. Thank you so
Nice.
much.
You guys
Yeah.
are awesome.
They just wanted so much more of us.
Welcome back to our hole.
Or holler.
Our
Yeah.
holler.
Oh,
We have two Hermeses on video now. Megan has a Hermes and Assailant has a Hermes. They were not named in relation to one another, but it just happens to have the same name. There are no
Now I feel like
Hermeses.
we should get a Hermes.
Yeah, we should.
I just don't know what kind of Hermes.
Let's see. It'd probably have to be a lizard.
A lizard or a snake, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a
Well,
I
fuzzy
feel like
one,
that sort
a
of
pretty well-known
completes
scaly
things.
one.
we are
Or a
lizard.
fish.
Yeah, we are lizard
Well-
and snake people.
Hermes
legs,
does
two
have
legs,
that
four legs.
staff with the,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the snakes around it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we have a in the room with me right now. We have a bearded dragon and a veiled chameleon. All right. Well, where we left off, Elise and the mummy had both been released from Hollis's binding circle, but so had half of the incorporeal being known as Malachor, who is now out of the circle and trying to possess everyone. And but Steph
You can bloody well try.
Seth, having just recently finished their project to create magical hagstones, has got those hagstones and is able to see more of this creature and how it is between worlds in its way.
Doesn't happen to have its name written on that Shadow World part, right? Just a name tag. Hello, my name is.
Hello, my name is Shadow Malachor. And then you're like, oh, I see the
Well, if
pattern.
it's not easy.
Something simple like Jeff. But like
Yeah,
with the
Jeff.
Jeff. That's great.
Roger, maybe.
Roger.
All right. So, Elise is staring upward, laying on her back on the ground. Hollis and Yarrow are both on their feet, looking skyward. And Seth was about to shapeshift into an octopus before that got taken away from them. So, what would we like to do now?
Light up my cigarette.
just on your back having a smoke, getting ash in your hair.
Well, I was almost penetrated.
That's true. Luckily, you had your astral prophylactic.
So, I have another question.
Yeah.
With Siphon Life, it doesn't say that the person inflicting the harm has to be the person I'm healing myself from.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's not required. As long as you've taken damage, you can transfer that damage.
So what if I
I knew it would just be a matter of time before this happened, but yes, go ahead.
what if I eat Malachor? Before he gets in there, I turn on Siphon Life, and Elise just shoots me a whole bunch of times.
So Siphon Life is a little bit different than that, but not you're definitely that is definitely very close to what could probably happen. It would be better if you were shot first and then you transferred that damage to Malachor.
I have to be touching Malachor, so that's why I was like, he should probably I should just eat him.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You would definitely be touching them at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you...
That's probably the only way we really could be touching him.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah, I guess you're right. It doesn't really matter what order it happens in. you'd probably be more successful at getting Malachor inside of you
If I wasn't damaged.
before you've been
You
shot.
just have to open your mouth.
Yeah.
Seems eager enough.
So do you want to entice Malachor in?
Just start Pac-Manning.
Nom, nom, nom. So first I'm gonna telepathically explain my plan.
Okay.
I feel like that's important that people know what I'm doing.
Sure, absolutely.
I feel that is definitely the case.
Yeah. And then I'll take a few steps forward and I'll start I guess I want to take enough damage to really damage them, and I have to spend essence for the amount of let's see, 0 essence for level 1.
Yeah.
1
for
essence for
2.
level 2, 2 for 3. So maybe I do like 4 essence for this so that I can get them really damaged.
So it's based on the amount of damage you've taken. So if you've taken fatal damage, you can transfer fatal damage to your
Okay.
opponent. The problem is you can't take any actions once you've taken fatal damage.
Yeah.
So
That's why I wanted to go ahead and
get them inside you first.
activate. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've done it. We have hit 500 followers. We just got the last 2. Pertale and Nuclear Mushroom. Thank you so much, Nuclear Mushroom,
Awesome.
for being our 500th follower. Nuclear Mushroom, that is a chef's kiss name there. It's perfect for our group. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so another little idea. When I said astral prophylactic, it made me think when Malachor gets in you, you know it's going to try to fully possess you.
I do
So
have that other astral spirit floating around inside my brain that I picked up from that weird happening at Scarlet Incarnation.
okay.
Pigs.
So maybe
Spirit
because
fight.
they're in there, it'll give me a little bit more time.
Okay. So you're okay, how do you want to do that? Do you want to do that first?
I do what first?
Like merge with the oh, you're saying with sticks.
Yeah, sticks.
Okay, gotcha. So using sticks as like a protection.
Yeah,
Okay.
a shield for my innermost self.
Yeah. I think sticks is a pretty powerful entity.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that'll give you +2 dice to resist if you
Okay.
end up having to resist possession.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So
All
okay.
right then. Yeah. I'll tell everybody to get ready to beat me to death or shoot me to death. And
All
You
right.
can start stabbing.
This
Yarl
is
lowers her
yeah.
horns.
this is
Mhm.
the moment that Hollis has been waiting for. I'm gonna get possessed and beaten to death by my coven mates. And then you'll speak to dead with yourself. Speak to the dead. All right. Okay. So what do you want to use well, I actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, what do you want to use to get possessed? Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue. So,
Hey, look at me over here with an open mouth.
yeah. So yeah, the physical, incorporeal Malachor swoops down out of the sky, seeing you looking like you're about to cast some kind of spell, and you've got your mouth open in the air, and it just rushes down, to possess you. So I would say a resolve resist would probably make the most sense.
Okay.
And that's plus 2 dice because the underworld spirit by the name of Styx, or no, sorry, the astral spirit, if I remember right.
It's an astral spirit, yeah.
The astral spirit named Styx is trying to protect you from Malicor's possession. That's,
Okay.
what,
2 extra
6 dice?
Yeah.
And it's a resistance roll.
Hey!
My goodness.
Wow.
Okay.
I expected at least a 5 there.
I know.
You got a 6, so not a crit, but that is a significant success. So yeah, I think Styx and Malicor are in this heated battle where Malicor is trying to reach into your spirit, reach into every cell in your body, and completely physically possess you. And Styx is forcing it back, but keeping it in full physical contact with you. So you can feel this thing, too many feels. You can feel this thing filling you up, and you can feel it inside of you, and you are ready.
All right, kill me now.
Kill you.
Everybody gets a turn.
Yara will use the classic goring. Hornet!
Okay. Does anybody else want to do you want to do this as a group action, or...
What, like the stabbing of Caesar?
Yeah, group brawler, our coven mate.
Arcana's just going to be looking in bewilderment.
Well, Elise, how many throwing knives do you have? If I turn into an octopus, I can stab Hollis multiple.
Oh my god.
I assume I have 3. I should realize I haven't put it on this character sheet. I haven't used my throwing knives in so long, I've just been using the pistol.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the group action? Brawl?
I would
Yes,
guess
Murder.
Brawl?
Murder.
Murder.
What level murder are you?
In the original Blades in the Dark, when they first made Blades in the Dark, murder was literally an action. I think...
Oh my gosh, as we're doing all this, is Hollis like setting herself on fire as well?
I'm immune to my own fire. It's not super useful.
Yeah.
Dang.
All
We just
right.
heard dramatic.
But I am
Can we get our-
screaming to make you guys feel really bad.
Can we get our familiars in on this too, everybody?
Yeah, somebody peck her eyes out. All right. Yep, everybody can make that roll. And what's the intent? To bring Hollis as close to death's door as possible?
Hollis to the brink.
Yeah, without, I guess, well, we can't like completely sever any body parts because I think that would make it a lot
Yes, no,
harder.
please.
So
I would like them all to be there when I wake back up.
let's just batter the crap out of Hollis.
Right. For the rolls. Who's gonna lead?
Oh yeah, who's gonna lead?
I have a fair amount of willpower, so I can lead.
Hollis,
Okay,
I
that's
hope
good.
Seth is the one you trust the most to lead this.
Probably Seth.
Okay. Here we go.
Right. Got a partial success from Seth.
It's good that they got 2 successes
A
because...
complete success from Assailant.
Oh! A partial success!
Nice!
I wasn't expecting that, rolling a 0, after all the failures with many dice today.
Awesome. Yeah. Struggle Princess says, wow, this is a great team building exercise. Okay. That's only
What would you
gonna...
call decimatio when you're doing it with a quarter of the group instead of a tenth?
Yeah, I don't know. So, Seth, that only costs you 1 willpower. And because that was a complete success, and Seth, you were leading, you get to decide how much how much harm did you cause to Hollis? And what were the actual effects? Like what did well, I guess everybody else can determine what their character did.
Everyone describe how they kill Hollis.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to use my shape-shifting as an octopus, of course, default state, and wrap my arms around Hollis's limbs and torso and squeeze. So I'm trying to like crush and bruise, but not break anything.
Okay.
I want Hollis in
Wonderful
one piece.
hug.
Do you want to
Just
use your
painful hug.
tentacles? Do you want to use your tentacles to close off their nose and mouth to prevent
Oh yeah.
the Malachor from
Plug in all the
escaping?
holes.
Nice.
You stuck in there now, Malachor.
I'll just
Alright.
bottle Hollis up and shake her a little bit.
Just wasn't prepared for tentacles.
Alright, what's Yarrow doing?
Yarrow just goes up, and I guess the tentacles are already wrapped around him. Like, I'm sorry, little buddy, and I just get my hoof out and start like hoofing in the stomach and all. I'm like, I'm so sorry. The whole time I'm almost crying. I'm so sorry. We just became friends.
And what is Elise doing?
Well, she could shoot, but that's a waste of bullets, and she could stab, but that seems a bit messy, so perhaps she whips out that cat o' nine tails and starts going to town on Hollis's back.
Awesome. And Seth, how many health levels of harm does this do? So I think there are kind of two ways to go about it. You can go to level 3 harm, which would take it to where Hollis is still able to act on her own volition, or you could try to take it to actual lethal harm and try to do something to sort of keep her on the brink of death and help her take an action. So it can kind of go either way. If you want to be sure that you're doing maximum damage to Malachor, then you want to get her as close to death as possible. Steph's tentacles are pretty powerful. Steph has, I think, completely killed somebody just by a tentacle slam in the past, so.
It was a child, and Hollis is child-sized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did bring the child back from the dead, though, so.
Yes.
But we don't have the means of bringing Hollis back.
No.
I have first aid kits, so... Oh, you know what?
I have
Am I
healing magic, darling.
Am I able to bring Hollis to 3rd degree harm, but like stab her with like adrenaline needles from like my first aid kit?
Are your first aid kits fine, or are they
No, they're
standard?
normal.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
just
gonna say no
normal.
adrenaline in a
Dang.
standard first aid kit.
Oh,
But yeah, Elise you had an idea there.
Healthy glow, I can heal her.
So go to lethal and then just healthy glow to try to keep her on the edge. Keep a little
Yes,
life
because
in her
the
body.
healthy glow will heal her, but not Melkor. Right? Yes. The harm will go to Malkor, but the healing won't.
That makes
Yeah.
sense to me. Okay. So spend any required essence. And Anya, it is time
Because
for
I don't think anyone else even has any
healing magic. And then
injuries for me to heal. Unless I spend 3 and also impact the mummy who's passed out near us.
no.
Well, we shouldn't have to spend a whole lot of essence to keep me just like
on the edge.
the edge of consciousness, because I'm going to be able to heal the vast majority of it with Siphon Life. I just need to be able to take that action.
Yeah, I think healthy glow makes perfect sense for that, to keep her just to her heart beating enough that she can cast this spell. All right.
Then I shall amusedly blow my smoke at Hollis. in the hopes that that helps heal her.
Okay,
That's my casting, after all.
awesome. So what's the roll, Anya, for Hollis?
To do Siphon Life?
Yeah, I think it's focus.
It is its focus.
Okay. And do you want to use any extra to send 4th level harm? It's going to be 3 essence.
Yeah. I'm gonna spend 2 willpower to get an extra die.
Okay.
Because I don't want to die. I do want to have a near-death experience. That's
Oh, yeah.
part of the reason I want to do this.
Awesome.
Near-death experience.
Possession, getting beaten up by your coven, and a near-death experience. It's like the jackpot for you, darling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the best
You even
day
got
ever.
whipped by the Cat of Nine Tails.
I know, so good.
It's a
I
full
thought, let's
bingo
make it a
card at
little
this
bit
point.
kinky.
Okay, I'm gonna do this focus roll and hope I don't fuck it up.
We're going to say this is desperate.
Okay.
Jam like a big fruit and calls his mouth.
5?
All right, that's a
The
partial
5.
success. So why don't we start by describing what this looks like for Hollis. You're being constricted by an octopus, beaten by a and smoked upon by Elise, and kicked by Yarrow. While you have
Let's throw in some cigarette burns.
while Malachor is trapped inside your body, while an astral spirit is keeping it from possessing you.
Oh man.
And you're hanging on to the edge of death and the edge of life, casting a spell.
Cue the camera going around like classic Marvel style on all of
Mhm.
us.
Time is frozen.
I can hear the Avengers theme in the background.
Okay. Story mode. Let's see. Hollis is trying to focus all of this harm and pain onto Malachor while she is her mind is, in and out of oxygen deprivation, and she is having visions of her partner, her dead girlfriend, and sweet nothings as much as she's able to.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I am relatively successful at channeling most of the harm
Mm-hmm.
into Malachor. Once Hollis is able to transfer that pain and she regains enough of her strength back, she's going to ask for that jar and she's going to vomit green black goo into the jar and put the lid on it and hand it back. And how much damage am I not able to, or am I able to get it all over there?
You heal completely.
Okay.
We were just followed by Tentacuola.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. 501. So you visualize Malachor just being crushed and decimated inside of you, and Styx, the astral spirit, just collapses everything that's left inside of you up into a ball and helps you force it out into Yarrow's jar.
Especially funny when you think of the fact that Styx is a dog, now carrying a ball.
You vomit up this green mass into the jar, and Yarrow slams the lid down on it, and you kind of step back as the wounds on your body all heal more or less all at once. But you notice that when you stepped back, you stepped into the circle and broke the edge of the circle.
Oh God.
You can resist that if you'd like.
I'm gonna resist that.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna say
I
that.
worked too hard.
I'm gonna say that'd be an insight resist.
An insight resist.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
For
a
you
face in a
Jesus.
while.
to have known exactly where you are and had the wherewithal to prevent yourself.
Let me see what I insight. Okay. And it's a resist.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
My God.
No.
4 ones.
I have traumatized out.
Okay. I think your foot does come back onto the edge of the salt. And just everything starts swimming around in you. The spirit sticks, like stops being able to integrate with your body and escapes outward. And with all that rush, you just fall unconscious and you fall on your face.
Okay.
But when the camera pans down to your foot, it's just on the other side of the salt circle. You did not disturb it. Okay. However, that was your spell. And now that you're
That's-
unconscious, the spell ends.
No! No!
But everybody has a split second to react while you watch as the magical energy around the binding circle starts to fade. So you all have a chance to act before the binding circle officially goes down.
Okay. Enigmatic form, I'll pop an essence and shield my friends with my silver wing.
Okay.
We did that worked out pretty good last time as we fought like
Sounds good.
the maze and with the ice, so I'm gonna try that.
Okay. No roll necessary for enigmatic form. So, yeah, you quickly shapeshift into a silver wing, this, 11-foot tall silver fey monstrosity with basically chrome wings that are fire resistant. And you use your wings to defend your allies, and what's left of Malachor that was stuck inside the circle rockets toward you, is sort of repelled by your wings, and then goes straight up in the air and vanishes off into the sky. It runs away.
I would try to tempt it back, but we don't exactly have any means of doing anything to it right now.
You do have about 2/3 of it in the jar.
2/3 of a Malachor.
Yeah, who was holding that jar?
I guess
Yara.
I would have it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess you
Yeah.
would. Okay. So it's safe.
Yarrow just petting like Hollis's hair, throwing up like it's okay.
It's okay. I've got you. I've got you.
Okay. You can see that the sun is just starting to come up. This all happened in the middle of the night or toward the end of the night. And yeah, the moon is starting to set. What would you like to do now?
Go to sleep.
Can we
Hollis
get
is definitely.
inside now at this point? Like, can we bring Hollis inside, or are we still blocked out?
Who wants to go test the door?
I suppose I could go do it.
Okay.
I'm on my feet now, after all. And I'd like a drink, so
All
all of
right.
my whiskey is unfortunately inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you get back to the door, you can still see that shimmery rainbow aura that blocked Yarrow from getting inside. What do you do when you get up to it?
Oh,
I attempt to
please.
burn it with my cigarette.
Reach out the cigarette and try to burn it. It sort of avoids the cigarette. It's retracts a little bit, and then it kind of like elastic snaps back, and it snaps around you, and it envelops you. And the rainbow shimmeriness starts to shimmer around you, and the ripples are almost like a voice, and eventually you start hearing a voice. And you've heard this before when you've been in some really intense rituals down here. You've heard the voice of Arcana, and it tells you very directly that it was protecting the Coven stead when it first decided to keep this entity that was on your island out. But then it realized its power and that it's not being respected here. And decided that instead of just keeping those entities out, it would keep you out as well, all of you. But seeing what you did today out there without its help, specifically with some negative interference from it, to be honest,
Despite.
it's going to just leave you alone. And it basically says in its most spiteful voice, I hope you're happy now. I'm leaving. And it just goes up through into the sky, and it goes in a different direction from the way Malachor went.
Nope.
And yeah, you basically watch the Aurora Borealis, effectively, of Arcana in the sky. And you feel an immense sense of loss, even though you all haven't been very strongly tied to your patron spirit. You do feel its loss. And Hollis, you're able to see this as well from the ground, looking up at the sky. And you watch it, and you're reminded how beautiful of a spirit it was, but it just didn't seem to be for you all. And so you watch as it ascends and vanishes, probably into the astral realm. Yep.
If I
And
had the essence, I would wild magic in there and chase her so I could slap her around. But unfortunately, I'm running low.
yeah. Yep. So, Hollis, you have taken a trauma. What are you going to take, do you think?
I feel like it should be something possession related, but I'm
Mhm.
not seeing anything on the list that I really like.
You could definitely
So,
make up your own.
yeah, I'm gonna have to think about it and
Okay.
see what I can come up with.
You already have haunted?
I think, yeah, I feel like the very last episode of last season, Hollis traumatized and she got haunted.
Oh yeah,
But
because also Six can hang out with you. Never mind. Sorry.
yeah.
Oh,
So I'm not really sure what to yeah, I'll figure it out.
okay. Well, we've got time for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, who wants to cast Drawing Down the Moon to end this sad undertaking?
I would
I'd be
I
happy to
think
or Megan can. Or
I
Sif.
want to do still as a silver wing. I want to gather everyone into the shallows at our coven stead. I'm going to hoist Hollis above my head, Lion King style, hold her up into the moonlight, and gently hold her and lay her into the water where the moon is reflecting, and we circle around her.
Awesome. That's beautiful. All right. Good luck on
And
the
I'm like,
drawing.
don't cry, don't cry.
It's going to be a 2-die drawing down the moon. Although I'm going to say now that Arcana is gone. From now on, your effective Coven tier is going to be 1 until you can get a new patron spirit or come to terms with not having one.
Sorry, I haven't done the drawing down the moon since the new
It's
principles.
exclamation point 2 DDTM.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, it's a poor result.
That's okay. That's 2 essence and 1 willpower for everyone. And everybody's going to get 4 downtime actions, so...
I get to be full up though, right?
Yeah, you traumaed out, so yeah, you do return full.
Yay!
You have a place where you go to sort of get your mail. Where,
PO box.
yeah. So one of you goes out, in the days that follow and go to your PO box and check it. I think would it make sense if it's Elise?
Most likely. I mean, chances are she's the easiest one to blend in, even
Okay.
if she is wearing
Yeah.
overly expensive clothing at all times.
Being a Median, even though you're stepping off of a small boat into the docks, yeah, you are definitely less of a standout than a goblin or a fish person or a satyr. So yeah, that makes sense. When you get to your PO box, you notice that there is a very large envelope inside, and when you pull it out, you recognize it instantly because it has the return address of your rival on it. And it looks fancy. They spared no expense.
Lisa's eyes just narrow.
Right. Yeah, so do you want to open it here or take it back to your coven?
Elise would probably open it here because, well, she would want to see what it says before she brings it back to everyone else.
It is a gilded invitation to her manor. And the only handwritten portion says, "It's been too long." And everything else is obviously typed out by an assistant or something. But you recognize her handwriting.
Should perhaps go back to the coven and announce that we are going to be going to a rather fabulous mansion to do something, well, that Arcana would have approved of.
Yeah, that is true.
On that note, Elise is, by the way, not going to explicitly tell everyone what Arcana said.
Okay. That makes sense. That's very Elise. Uh, Elise has kept a lot of secrets over the last...
She's very withholding.
Yeah, the last year and a half or so.
Or as everyone's aware, Arcana was getting in the way and Elise told her off.
So that's that emptiness everybody's feeling.
We can do better.
Megan, did you have Seth take 2 of the previous downtime actions? Was that what you
Yes.
used? Okay.
I used both my downtime actions previously to craft, so I guess I would only have 2 now. Oh,
So
I
yeah.
took my big friend.
Yeah, you'll get 2 more, and everybody else has 4. Does anyone want to show off how we do experience? Would that be interesting? We could do Coven experience on stream. We've never done it before, and I think it would be good to have it out there in the world
Have it out
since,
there.
yeah, we have
That's a smashing idea.
so many new followers tonight. I think we can divulge a little bit more of the way things work on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'll be an especially interesting occasion because we just lost our patron.
Yeah, that's true. That is going to be interesting. So who wants to do the Coven experience?
I don't actually know if I have the updated sheet. Is that on our drive?
Yeah, and it's still the same old sheet. We do have a designer working on the updated Coven sheet to make it look just as gorgeous as the character sheets, the Grimoire sheets. And I'll be sending out some information on that very soon. I'll have to make them into form-fillable PDFs like the character sheet. But yeah, they look gorgeous. You're
do.
going to be very excited when you see them.
It's the same designer as the Grimoire.
They are, yeah. Yep.
Oh,
It
fabulous.
is.
Well, the Grimoires are beautiful.
Mm-hmm. It is at Byfrancita, Byfrancita on Twitter. And they are an amazing designer. They've done playbooks for several Forged in the Dark games, and they do what is it? Dyslexia friendly design and things like that. So a lot of design that uses icons rather than text because people have an easier time with that. And yeah, it's really good stuff. So yeah, if you need any help designing something, their rates are extremely affordable.
Mm-hmm.
As an indie developer team, Anya and I,
that was
that's
nice.
that's a very important part, but it's absolutely amazing. So
I think I decided what I'm gonna take as my drama.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take obsessed, and she's going to be obsessed with bringing herself to the brink of death like that.
oh
Whenever she can.
wow,
Junkie, okay.
oh wow,
Right.
kinky, occulty. Okay, yeah. Does anybody have the Coven sheet open?
Yeah, I
Yes,
do.
I can. Oh,
Make it a
Oh, go ahead.
right.
I
Well,
did it
would
last
be.
time.
Yes, I feel like I haven't had a chance to do this in ages. So, first and foremost, we must look at whether this was a favored undertaking to see if we could experience for that. It wasn't an undertaking at
Yeah.
all, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So, that's null and void. Next, did we contend with a challenge above our current station? Malcor is
sure.
above our station.
Yep. I would even say Arcana at this point is above your station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's worth two. So just to give our viewers a little bit of background on how these experience triggers work, they're actually fully player facing and player oriented. So I can be a tiebreaker vote, and I can help give ideas about, oh, I think that you hit that trigger when you did this or when you did that or whatever. But I'm not the arbiter of experience. It's absolutely, it's the Coven itself that determines how much experience you all get.
But you do know whether something was above our current station or not.
Right, so I'm helpful in that regard because I can say, okay, this faction or this creature, in my opinion, was greater level than you. Hollis developed so many new fetishes today.
What a
Thank
fabulous day.
Any
Gotta
day.
catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all.
So, next we have to decide whether we have bolstered our Coven's lore and acted in a manner befitting our patron. I can say with certainty that we have not acted in a manner befitting our patron, seeing as how I attempted to burn her with a cigarette and she flew away.
Oh man.
Us pissing off our patrons so much onto our lore.
I feel like that's ambitious.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
That's ambitious, and
Or
what
brutal.
Strange.
and what you did to Hollis was brutal.
Mhm.
Oh my god, that was so brutal.
Yeah,
So I think that's 2 experience there.
absolutely.
We're all gonna have PTSD from being on Hollis, and Hollis is like, again!
Are you sure that was only Hollis that traumatized out? Because I feel like we all got trauma.
Emotional damage.
Yeah.
Elise was fine with it. Alright, now we have to decide on the less concrete things. Did we express the drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of our coven?
I mean, we did try to protect each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, Coven
crazy
mates come
circumstances.
first.
Mhm.
Dude, our coven mates came before our
Our
coven's
Patron.
patron.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But to be fair, we never turned on each other, and the patron did.
What are yeah, I feel like what was that middle one? It was
Inner conflict.
yeah.
Expressing the inner conflict. Well, I feel like upsetting our patron is part of the inner conflict, as we have been separating from her for quite some time.
yeah.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, you guys have never so your patron has bans, things that it doesn't allow you to do, and its thing is that it doesn't allow you to destroy knowledge, especially magical knowledge. And you have never violated the ban of your patron. I think Elise did once very
I
early on,
accident-
which makes
accidentally
perfect sense.
drove someone to madness when they had knowledge.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. But more or less, you guys were all apathetic toward Arcana. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of, in a way, that kind of drove Arcana mad, being stuck down there in this bunker. And that book that Yarrow had was like an intense source of magic, and then it was gone. And yeah, just everything magical seemed to be vanishing out of the Covenstead, in its opinion, or getting shuffled away and put in the vault and stuff like that. And I feel like, yeah, eventually it just sort of all added up, even though you weren't really violating its ban. The apathy was just became too much. But yeah, I think that's a really, really cool conflict. It's not a direct conflict, but it's this like long-term grading conflict that's sort of been an undercurrent. So yeah, I think that absolutely counts.
I'm looking forward to see if she gets angry and comes back for us sometime.
Joins forces with what's left of Malachor.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
Arcana Core.
No.
No, that's definitely not in her nature.
And I think that's 2 experience for that one as well.
That's a
But
total.
unfortunately, because we didn't actually complete an undertaking, we are 2 experience short of a level up.
Okay.
So close.
Right. Since Morningstar did the Coven, do we want to go to the other end and maybe have Anya do Hollis's personal grimoire XP?
Sure. Let me find it.
So these are all on the sheets. On the Coven sheet, it has all the Coven experience triggers, and on each grimoire sheet, it has the specialized grimoire XP triggers.
Okay, so the experience triggers for a Baba are Did I address a tough challenge with wisdom or underworld knowledge? I definitely feel like I used underworld knowledge. I don't know if it was the wisest thing I've ever done, but I understood how possession works and how my abilities worked that are related to my grimoire. So I feel like that's underworld knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Expressed your heritage, disposition, aspect, or beliefs. My aspect is death, the death card. So I died today. My disposition is curious. I wasn't super I mean, I guess she's always kind of curious about being possessed.
Yeah, and
So,
death.
yeah, and death. But you max out at 2 for a line. So that's maxed out. But yeah, my heritage being a gob, I didn't really play that up during this session. Let's see. Struggled with issues from your trauma, casting style, or consequences of harm. I wouldn't say I struggled with issues, but since I do have that haunted tag, that kind of helped me out.
I also always give 1 XP when you take a new trauma,
Okay.
as a bonus, so that definitely counts as well.
But yeah, I didn't struggle with casting style or consequences of harm. The consequences of my harm were exactly as I intended them to be. So that is 4 XP for me today.
And where are you gonna put those?
I will probably put them into Grimoire experience so I can get a new ability. Yeah.
You can also use those now to buy add-ons. Well, that's something
Oh
we'll
yeah,
talk
I'll have
about
to
later.
check those
Add-ons are
out.
not a part of the quick start, but they are going to be a part of the full game. An
Yeah.
add-on is where you can modify one of your abilities. So if your Speak to the Dead, or sorry, if your Animate Corpse ability requires you to touch a corpse, you could put an add-on for 1 grimoire advancement level, and you could remove that restriction. So you could animate corpses from a distance. Or you could say, I want to do it, but I want it to cost less essence. Things like that. And each add-on costs 1 grimoire advance. They're best for once you've sort of filled up your list of grimoire powers and you want to continue to advance from there. But I could absolutely see a new character being like, I only really care about this one power, and I'm going to remove all the restrictions from it so I can cast it
Yeah.
willy-nilly. So, all right, 4 XP, awesome. How about Yarrow?
All right, let's see. Address a tough challenge with an artifact you crafted or a calculation. I don't think, did the jar count as an artifact? I don't.
It,
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, it
it's
technically isn't an artifact, but in this case, I think it counts.
it's a coven asset now.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then calculation. I guess we did have to pretty much calculate how to get Malachor in there. And I mean, I did try a lot to try to manipulate, even though I wasn't very successful. I did try to manipulate Malachor that way. And don't mind Hermes back there. Well,
Don't look at that cat butt.
but
Cat's worshipping Satan over there.
so I would guess, yeah, I would guess that's two.
Cool.
Let's see, express your heritage, disposition, aspect, or beliefs. I always express my heritage. I just think it's easy as a satyr to express my hooves and my horns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, disposition, creative. I did create the jar in that, and I mean, pretty much all of them hit anyway, but I could only do 2
Mm-hmm.
because aspect is the moon, and this happened at night under the
Mm-hmm.
light of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And my beliefs are just friendship. Although I guess I kind of went against friendship by kicking Hollis, but
No, you did what I asked.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
oh yeah,
Even though it was hard for you.
true friendship. I kicked
Sometimes
Hollis.
friendship means brutalizing those you love most.
At their behest.
Oh, I don't know though. It started a whole
I'm used to
addiction.
For a reason.
All right, so that would be 2 for that as well. Struggled with issues from your trauma, casting style, or consequences of harm. I actually don't. There wasn't a whole lot of struggles with my trauma because I wasn't like extremely reckless. Casting style didn't really have any problems other than Malachor just made a hole in himself to let my stuff pass right through.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have too many crazy consequences of harm. Other than just, the feeling violated by Malachor. So yeah, I'll call it good at 4.
Okay, awesome. Seraphine Fellstar, one of our Patreon patrons, just said, I would kick your asses any day. Purple Heart.
Aww.
Word.
Thank you. We have so many of our Patreon patrons in chat right now. Thank you all so much for being
Everybody.
here. Bloody Star, or Bloody Rose White Wolf
Bloody
as
Star.
well. Bloody Star. And Struggle Princess. Awesome. And nice to meet you, Innsmouth Beauty 12. That's a very cool name. Very Call of Cthulhu. Is a game that
Seth is also an Innsmouth beauty.
Who was that?
Seth is also an Innsmouth beauty.
Awesome. Yeah, we are at some point I am going to run something Call of Cthulhu adjacent on this channel, but we haven't quite determined exactly what that's going to be or when that's going to be, but we definitely have some love for the Cthulhian. Okay, let's do Seth, Megan.
XP triggers. Addressed a tough challenge with many forms or familiar assist. Rivert, I think he's on holiday. He didn't show up last session. He's coming back to the spa on the boat. He's getting another mud mask.
Yeah.
So many forms. I transformed into an octopus to beat up Hollis.
Yeah. Good.
And I transformed into a silver wing to protect my friends.
Yeah.
So
Sure
I
did.
think I get 2 for that.
Mm-hmm.
For expressed your heritage, disposition, aspect, or beliefs. So Nerid, neurotic, and my aspect is the tower. On my tower card, it actually has a octopus sea monster crushing a tower, and I crushed Hollis as an octopus.
Yeah, you sure did.
Hey,
Yeah, so that works. And in my beliefs, I have protect children, protect friends, and things don't belong in cages. So I think that doubles down on the silver wing thing from before.
Yeah.
But struggles with issues from your trauma, casting style, or consequences of harm. I didn't get any trauma or harm this round, so I don't get anything there.
Okay. So that
And
came out to...
That comes out to 4, which means I can take a new grimoire power, and I'm going to take
Ooh.
lightning weaponry.
Oh, that's such a
Ooh.
cool
Not
one.
desperate. You may shapeshift and attack, instantly gaining the element of surprise.
Nice.
+1 die and +1 effect level, if I remember right.
Yes. +1 die and +1 effect.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's basically shapeshift and attack before the other, before whoever you're going up against has a chance to react. Yeah, it's really,
That's
really
nice.
cool.
So now I have one for offensive as well as defense.
Really quick, I had filled up my XP, and I have a question about Arcane Mastery.
Yeah.
It seems so general and vague that do I just get another general power, or what does that do?
So when you first buy it, yeah, can you read it out loud and I'll let you know.
Okay, so for Arcane Mastery, it says permanently fill 1 box of your Grimoire XP tracker. You begin with 1 additional general power.
Yeah, so you get 1 additional general power when you learn it. You get to pick what that is. And you can fill in one of your Grimoire XP boxes, so it never needs to be filled again. So I usually fill the one all the way to the right. So basically, instead of 8 to get a Grimoire XP level, it only costs you 7 from now on.
Oh, okay. Understood. Then I am taking that then.
Awesome.
Just a quick side note.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure out what general power I want, but
Yeah, if you figure it out by the end of the session, let us know. That'd be super
yeah.
cool. I would say, and just knowing how you play, take a look at Alacrity. It's the first one in the list. It's similar to the ability that Megan just took for Seth. It's basically that vampire ability where you can run so fast you teleport effectively. So you can just disappear from one location and appear at another. Within reason, something you could have done if you had, like, basically you move at about triple, quadruple speed for an action.
Yarrow just the zoomies.
Yeah. Although you do, oh no, I was thinking of your green character. I was like, but you do have that vine running. That's
No.
very similar. Oh wait, that's not this character. Yeah.
We're gonna miss Lana.
All right.
Yeah,
Morning. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
might actually take that, to be honest. It would help to be faster with my horns and hooves.
Ooh, yeah, that's a deadly combination right there.
Mhm.
All right, Morningstar for Elise.
Well, I don't think I'm going to get many this session. First and foremost, did I address a tough challenge with manipulation or astral knowledge? I suppose I attempted to manipulate Malcor by standing inside the circle and tempting him to come at me.
Mm-hmm. And astral knowledge on 2 occasions.
I did utilize my astral knowledge. So, if I did it on 2 occasions, that's true.
I think 3, actually. But, yeah, you max out at 2, so... Yeah, you did it once even in Resistance. Although that was me describing it, but, it could have just as well been you. If you accepted it, then it counts.
Okay, then I have to determine whether I've expressed my heritage, disposition, aspect, or beliefs. My heritage, actually, it did come up, I suppose, because I went to the mainland.
You were the only one willing to go because of your heritage, yeah.
So that actually did come into play. I wasn't expecting that to come into play. My disposition as a bon vivant, I did go back down specifically because I wanted a drink.
Yep.
But that seems like a bit of a stretch.
Oh, no, not at all, in my opinion. I'm not the final arbiter, but in my opinion...
I think it
Do we
counts.
think me initiating my conflict with Arcana and driving her off from our coven because I wanted alcohol counts as me being a bon vivant?
And with a cigarette, nonetheless.
And here's a little just piece of clarification. The way I tend to run this is that even if you didn't say at the time, I did this because I'm Median, or I did this because my aspect is the moon, as long as you can color an action that you did in the past with that paintbrush, to me, you're adding something to the story that it's just as good as if you had done it at the time, because everybody here has a good imagination, and we all know what that looks like. We can all imagine the thought going through your head, and that changing the reason why you did an action. So I'm more than willing to give people the experience point if they can put themselves in the mind of their character at the time and say, okay, the reason why I would have done this is because of XYZ. So that's just me. Some GMs might be a lot more strict on XP, but for me, it's all about what did you add to the story. So you can add it now, or you could add it then, but either way.
Story is the most important part.
Yeah.
Now, as for struggling with issues from trauma, casting style, or consequences of harm, that did not come up.
Okay.
But that was enough for me to get that next grimoire power I wanted.
Oh, awesome. What are you taking?
But actually, I'm going to take a general power. I
Oh,
was
okay.
thinking I would, since I seem to be running into willpower issues more often from bad rolls, I thought I would take prescience.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense, anyhow, with Elise's sort of mental fortitude, or
Mm-hmm.
however you want to phrase it.
Yeah, so you see things before they come to pass, and you can be prepared for them in advance, so take care of some of those pesky consequences. Nice.
Thinking ahead. She's always thinking ahead.
Would have been helpful last time when the helicopter came crashing out of the
Yes,
sky.
it seems like
Yeah.
a rather practical thing for her to be aware of the fact that that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone else might be reckless, but she's pretty sensible.
Well, all right. So what you ended up getting 4?
Yes.
Awesome. Azalwyn, did you figure out what general power did you decide on? Alacrity or?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah,
I just think it'll be fun, super fast goat Pete's.
I love it.
To get you 2 coconuts, so you can like the
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, plus it says I can shift position to controlled for an immediate action,
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Ooh,
Yeah,
which
nice.
will help a lot.
Yeah, it's the only ability like that. It's basically, yeah, they have no time to prepare for your action. So, yeah, you get to basically do a more or less consequences-free action. And so the thing about being in a controlled position is that if you do fail, you can say, I want to re-roll, but make it risky. So you can basically say, okay, maybe I didn't do a great job, but I can get another chance. So shifting to controlled is kind of insanely powerful.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, considering how many times that risky and desperate has gotten me in trouble, I think that's a good idea.
I cannot believe that quadruple ones resistance roll. That was amazingly epically bad. And that causing you to trauma out. That was like ultimate perfection. That was
It's quite perfect that we had such terrible rolls in the session where Arcana was deserting us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We had a good story reason for it.
yeah. I couldn't have planned it better myself. I did not plan it. I actually intended this session to be all about Arcana deserting you guys. That was my 100% intention, but that's just not how this game works. You
But
can
Mummy Daddy.
Yeah, you can plan something up one side and down the other, and if the rolls go differently, you just have to roll with the punches. Speaking of that, that's actually what we're going to talk about in tomorrow's GMing from the ground up. So a little segue to one of our other streams. I'll be doing GMing from the ground up tomorrow, episode 3. We're going to talk about GM tools and how to prepare for that first session. So we've already talked about preparing for session 0, designing your campaign, your sort of campaign pitch to get players on board. And then we talked about session 0, which is where you get player consent for everything you're planning on doing during your game. We've already discussed those. Those are up on YouTube, so you can check those out. And tomorrow, we're going to go straight into how do you prepare for your first session, what kind of tools you can use to have character names, NPC names, NPC professions, just all those things at your fingertips, so that when you're actually running the game, you're not stumbling over things like I always am as much, because you get better and better with those tools, and then you can just sort of rely on those tools rather than having to rely on your failing memory like I'm always doing. So, yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow, and then Friday we're going to have Anya Plays Animal Crossing, our relaxing Friday get-together. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. First, we need to talk to everybody and let everybody know where they can find us all online. We'll start with Morningstar.
Start with me. Well, darlings, if you're looking to find me online, you can do so at the Cytherian on Facebook and the_Cytherian on Twitter and Instagram. And we like to post editorial photography with, well, usually a somewhat sensual spin to it. And all of it is edited by our dear Megan, who works so tirelessly to ensure that there's fabulous portraits to look at, beyond just, my beauty, which is almost enough.
Hard to improve on perfection, but I try.
You do more than try. You succeed. All right, yeah, go ahead, Megan.
Like Morningstar said, I am the editor and photographer for the Morningstar content. I say it every week. I'm still working on getting my personal links up. My work situation has changed. I have some more time, so hopefully in the not too far future that will be a thing. But for now, if you want to see any of the work that we do, you can find it on Fridays at any of the links previously mentioned. Sometimes we do midweeks on Wednesdays, but that's dependent on how heavy the edits are. So check out any of the previously mentioned links, and we hope you enjoy our content.
Yep, and you'll also find links in the credits that will play shortly after before we end the stream. Azalin.
Well, I am Azalin, and you can see how it's spelled on the screen, but literally you can find me everywhere under that name, under Instagram, Facebook, except for TikTok's under a goddess Azalin, and here on Twitch, where I play Wednesdays and Sundays of Sims, and sometimes there's random stuff thrown in there. But also I'm really chaotic, so if you don't like a chaotic streamer with a chaotic schedule, I might not be the one. But other than that, we always got something fun. But I think that's everything for my stuff. I'm just always up to something wacky and creative.
According to Twitch, we just hit our 500 follower goal with
Ooh.
Poetic Raspberry following us. But according to my tracker, we're at 503. So we'll figure out which one's reality. It's witchiness. We never know what's really going on here. All right,
See if it's
Anya.
the
Now have
robot
the gift
overlords.
tracker as well.
Yeah. Anya.
Yeah, I'm Anya. You can find me on Twitter at Anya T Moore. You can find me on Instagram at Menagerie Nest. You can find me here on Fridays doing the crossing of animals.
Aw, thank you so much, the Cytherian.
First.
I just want to be first.
You are first. You are first. Just not just in this. You're just first.
In your heart as well.
All right. Anya and I are the co-authors of Children of Midnight Coven, the game we've been playing here tonight. We make a lot of other games as well. We have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/balsamic games. So many of the people that have been in chat here tonight are our Patreon patrons, and they are amazing, and they deserve all the kudos. Right now we are edging toward, edging is not the right word for this. We are creeping toward our goal of $50, at which time we will be able to get live captions on our Nightsky Sanctum videos. It's only one of the videos that we do, but live captions are a relatively difficult and expensive thing to get. So that is our current goal. We have 7, count them, 7 Patreon supporters right now, and when we reach 10, we will play 10 Candles, which is an amazing horror game. We will do that privately with our Patreon patrons, and of course, everybody in our cast is invited as well. Nobody needs to feel the necessary to show up.
Pressure.
But, yeah, no pressure. But the cast is invited as well. So when we
Does seem like a very exciting game.
It's
It-
so fun.
It is so much
So
fun.
fun.
It's
I've yet to die on screen, so
Oh yeah. It is a 2 to 3 hour long game in which you play a horror scenario that all the players and the GM make up together on the spot. The only thing is the game starts with the world being cast into darkness, and the game ends when every player character is dead. So
No way to avoid it.
there
You're
is no
gonna
way to
die.
avoid it. Yep. You tell the best story you can in the short amount of time you have left to live. And it is incredibly fun. It's a unique experience, I have to say. And it is a ritual. You light candles as you make your characters. And in the end, you have 10 candles lit. And by the end of the game, the 10 candles are extinguished. And yeah. So, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to see you on Patreon or on our Discord. I'll go ahead and put our links into chat while the credits roll. And otherwise, we will say goodbye to you all until we meet again, hopefully during tomorrow's stream.
darlings,
So
I'll
long.
see you very soon.
Avita saying goodbye.
Good night.